Ever feel like, you're building these incredible products, but when it comes to cloud costs, it's like, well, you're in the dark. Yeah, if that's you, you're definitely not alone, and that's exactly what we're tackling in today's deep dive. We're diving deep into FinOps, but hold on. This isn't some generic overview. We're getting laser focused on how you, and I mean you listening right now, how you can use these FinOps principles to make seriously smarter product decisions. Think being able to predict those cloud costs for that new game-changing feature you're dreaming up? Or imagine launching in a new market, but this time you're 100% confident in your pricing strategy. No more crossed fingers, no more hoping for the best. That's the power we're talking about here. And to help us unpack all of it, I've got a FinOps pro joining me today.
Hey everyone, excited to dive in.
So right off the bat, the FinOps framework, it talks about this product persona, right? But before anyone listening starts thinking, oh, that's not me, I'm not in product, let's clear the air. It's a bit broader than just having product in your job title, wouldn't you say?
You got it. It's really more about anyone who plays a part in, well, in bringing a product to life, So yeah, of course, you've got your folks brainstorming features, but it's also the ones crunching the numbers, making sure it all makes financial sense, and everyone in between.
Gotcha. So when we're talking about this product persona, what's that common thread that brings them all together?
At the end of the day, it's all about delivering value to your customers, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big but that comes with a whole set of challenges, especially in this whole cloud-driven world we're living in. Unpredictable cloud bills, trying to figure out the cost of new features before you even build them, that's just scratching the surface.
Oh, tell me about it. Those are definitely the things that keep you up at night.
Right. And we haven't even touched on launching in new markets, which, let's be honest, each new market can feel like you're starting from scratch when it comes to cloud pricing.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. But this is where FinOps comes in clutch, right? Before we get into how it swoops in to save the day, let's talk about what this product persona, what are they really striving for? What are their big objectives?
So at their core, they're all about driving sustainable growth year after year. But, and this is important, it's not just growth for the sake of growth.
No.
It's got to be profitable, especially when you've got all these cloud resources in the mix.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's got to be sustainable. You can't just burn money to grow. Got to be smart about it.
Exactly. And a big part of that is getting those products to market faster. But here's the catch. You don't want to sacrifice cost effectiveness to do it.
Right. Classic balance, speed versus planning, making sure it all adds up.
Right.
But there's one more objective for this product persona, right? And this one, to me at least, feels like it's at the heart of what it means to be truly product-driven.
Couldn't agree more. This persona, they're all about pushing the envelope, coming up with those innovative market-leading solutions, the kind of stuff that makes customers go, whoa, I need that.
Okay, makes total sense. But, and this is where I'm curious to get your take, how do they square that with being cost-effective? Because you could have the most innovative idea in the world, but if it's not financially viable, well, it's not going to get very far.
And that's exactly where those pesky, unpredictable cloud costs can really throw you for a loop.
Talk about a mood killer. Right.
It doesn't have to be a constant struggle, though. With FinOps, you've got a framework for really understanding and managing those cloud costs. And that right there is what we're going to dive into next.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. No more financial freakouts. Let's do this. But before we jump into all that, let's take a closer look at the specific challenges, the pain points that this product persona is dealing with on a daily basis.
Right. Got to understand the problem before you can find the solution. We touched on a few already, but why don't we dig a little deeper?
So let's be real. For anyone out there building products in the cloud, those unpredictable costs, it's like that mosquito buzzing around your head that you just can't seem to swat away.
Ugh. Yeah, it's a pain point I've heard from a lot of folks. And it can lead to some, shall we say, interesting conversations with stakeholders when those cloud bills are higher than expected.
Oh yeah, I bet those aren't the most fun meetings to be a part of. But it's not just about keeping those existing costs in check, right? We were talking earlier about this whole challenge of predicting costs for new features, which honestly sometimes feels like trying to predict the weather 3 months out.
It's tough, for sure. Imagine you're trying to put a price tag on a brand new feature, right? Let's say something like, adding real-time collaboration to your project management app. But you don't have a solid grasp on the cloud resources it's going to eat up. Underestimate those costs and your profit margins take a hit. Overestimate, and you might price yourself out of the market altogether.
Yeah, talk about a no-win situation. And all of that is amplified, like tenfold, when you're thinking about expanding into new markets, right?
Absolutely. Launching in a new region, It's not as easy as just flipping a switch, unfortunately. Different locations come with a whole different set of cloud pricing variables, data storage regulations, bandwidth costs. You've even got regional competition playing a role in how much you'll actually end up spending.
So it's like every new market comes with its own financial puzzle box you got
Yeah.
to figure out. Okay, so we've laid out the challenge here. Unpredictable cloud costs, they can make or break your product strategy. But good news, everyone, we're not defenseless. We've got FinOps in our corner, ready to rumble. So for our product teams out there, what are some of the key benefits, the wins they can unlock by embracing these FinOps principles?
Well, think of it this way. FinOps becomes your secret weapon for managing risk. It's all about getting proactive, right? When you understand and optimize those cloud costs up front, you're essentially building a safety net for your entire product development process.
Okay, so no more sleepless nights worrying about those surprise cloud bills. I like where this is going.
Exactly. But it's not just about avoiding those scary situations. It's about actually creating opportunities for strategic growth. When you can clearly see your cloud costs, really understand them, you can make smarter decisions.
Yeah.
Decisions that drive both innovation and profitability. And that's a beautiful thing.
It's like having your cake and eating it too, right? It's not just about saving money, it's about spending it in a way that actually moves the needle.
100%.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another huge benefit of FinOps: aligning your product decisions with your business outcomes. You see, sometimes there's this disconnect, right? You've got the product folks, heads down, building amazing things, which is great. But then you've got the business folks who are understandably concerned with, well, the business side of things.
It's that classic clash, right? Build it and they will come versus show me the money.
Bingo. But FinOps, it helps you bridge that gap. It gives those product teams the tools and the insights to see how their decisions, especially around cloud resources, how those decisions impact the business.
It's like everyone's finally on the same page, singing from the same song sheet. Okay, I want to get into the nitty-gritty here for a second. One of the benefits that really jumped out at me was this idea of accurate cloud cost prediction for pricing. Can you break that down for me? Because to me, that's where FinOps goes from a cool concept to an absolute game changer.
I'd have to agree with you there. That's where you see the real magic happen. Remember those pricing nightmares we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
FinOps gives you the tools and the data to predict your cloud costs with way more accuracy. And that means that you can price your products, your features with confidence.
So no more throwing darts in the dark hoping for a bullseye.
Nope. With the right FinOps practices in place, you can run simulations, model different scenarios, even play around with different pricing models until you find that sweet spot that works for your product in your market.
Okay, so it's like having a crystal ball, but for your cloud spending.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not just about looking into the future. It's about understanding the past, too. FinOps, it encourages you to really dig into those past spending patterns. See where you can optimize, where you can potentially save. It's like having a financial detective on your team, always looking for ways to cut down unnecessary expenses without sacrificing quality or performance.
So it's like instead of just reacting to costs after they happen, you're in the driver's seat from the get-go.
Exactly. And that right there, that proactive approach, that's what leads to smarter cloud investments across the board.
Music to my ears. Data-driven decisions all day, every day. But before we crown FinOps as the ultimate product development hero, let's connect it back to remember those key metrics from the framework. Those are the numbers that really matter for our product persona, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
We're talking about the stuff that gets product people fired up, revenue growth, those healthy gross margins, that all-important COGS, and of course, we can't forget about unit economics.
Now, for anyone listening who might not have cost of goods sold memorized like their go-to coffee order, can you break down why these metrics are so crucial when we're talking about FinOps?
It all boils down to understanding how your cloud spending, it's not happening in a vacuum. It directly impacts your bottom line.
Okay, so it's not just about saving a few bucks here and there. It's about making a real difference in the metrics that matter most to the business.
Exactly. And it goes even deeper than that. Let's say you're building a photo storage app, right? And you're trying to figure out how much it costs to store each user's photos in the cloud. That's where unit economics comes in.
It's like having that X-ray vision into your product, seeing where those cloud costs are lurking and how they affect the big picture.
And once you've got that visibility, you can start making those strategic decisions that honestly might have seemed impossible before.
This has been eye-opening, to say the least. It feels like FinOps isn't just a nice-to-have anymore, it's a must-have for any product team that's serious about building successful products in the cloud. Would you agree with that?
100%. It's not enough to build a great product anymore. You've got to understand the economics of actually running that product in the cloud, and that's where FinOps steps in.
It's like that saying, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep.
Hmm.
But in this case, it's about how much value you're delivering to your customers while, keeping the lights on.
Well said.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into FinOps for product people, what's that one big takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with today?
If you're involved in product development at all, from brainstorming those initial ideas to launching it into the world and everything in between, don't underestimate the power of FinOps. It's not about pinching pennies. It's about making those smart decisions, the ones that drive innovation, that help you grow faster, that ultimately make your product stand out from the crowd.
It's about taking control of your cloud destiny, turning those unpredictable costs into, like, a secret weapon. This has been fantastic. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure.
And for our listeners, remember, you don't have to become a financial guru overnight to embrace FinOps. Start by asking the right questions. Be open to new ways of thinking about how your product and your cloud infrastructure, how they work together, how they can work better together. If this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, and I hope it has, there are a ton of resources out there to get you started. So keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep those cloud costs in check. Until next time.